friends. It's Michaela. So, we're going to talk about real deal self-care. And the truth is, this kind of got stirred up in me today on a group coaching call for fat burners. And so, essentially, we started to talk about pleasure. And so, I think that, we'll get there again. But I think that most people, most women don't prioritize that. And the unfortunate thing is that it's so consequential. It's how we're wired. We are made for it. We are designed for pleasure, like for our own self-pleasure. And so when we ignore our pleasure, when we don't have it in our lives, when we endure shit that doesn't feel good, it's like we kind of what do I want to say? It's like we wilt, we get run down, we feel resentful, we feel stressed, and that makes sense. So anyway, so I wanted to talk about self-care because I think that what most people do is they think of it as almost like, I don't want to say an intellectual activity, but something that feels good, like sensationally, but not that it necessarily makes you feel good emotionally. And that's what we're really talking about here. So additionally, this is kind of different based on what you need. And so I think that's another thing where people feel like, oh, I should get a massage, or I should, meditate, or I should journal, or I should be happy, sitting quietly, trying not to think. And it's for a lot of us, that can make us feel like we're going to jump out of our own skin, but that might not be the thing that we actually need or want. And so the goal is to feel good, whatever that means, or whatever you need. And the big thing, I think that's actually quite internally liberating, is that I think that there's kind of things that are assumed to be good, right? It's fun to, it's great to get a massage. It's fun to, I don't know, go out to dinner, that there are certain things, to get something new, to buy something, to get a new car. And it's all those things could be super exciting, but they don't necessarily nourish you like particular things could. And so maybe, but I think the biggest thing is the more we're kind of aware of ourselves, and the more we're aiming to give ourselves exactly what we need because we're paying attention to ourselves, then it's we hit the nail on the head. Another thing I just wanted to say, and then I'm going to get into stories. That was my big, brilliant move with this sharing today, is that I recognize that there's so much information in the world, and in many respects, it's just nugget after bullet point. And that is kind of, I'm going to say stressful for our nervous system. But stories are so much more palatable. They're so much easier to retain. And they're just so much more enjoyable to consume. So that is what I'm wishing to do today. So lastly, before we get on to kind of these three main camps and stories connected to them, is that one of the craziest things in the world is, I feel like a lot of women do this and have voiced this, is that there's pressure to do certain things to care for yourself, that you should be doing red light therapy. It's you should be doing gua sha, or dry brushing, or cold exposure, or saunas, you should use a bounding mat for lymphatic drainage. And it's just that what ends up happening is that these expectations, these cultural what do I want to say, suggestions, kind of actually ends up like creating more stress. Like women feel like they're still not doing the right thing. They're not doing enough. And I think that is just ridiculous. So I just wanted to say that too. Okay? So real deal self-care is doing shit that makes you feel good. Not stuff that sounds good and not stuff that just kind of like, oh, well that, feels physically nice. It's like, are you physically tense? Like, are you physically cold? Would it be nice to be warm? But in reality, we often need stuff that's like a little fuller bodied than that. Like if we're actually really taking care of ourselves. So love, I'm gonna like cry through this whole thing. Love is a verb. Love is a verb. And so it's like, if you want to do things that are loving for yourself, it's like that is an action that we take, whether that's like for someone else, but obviously for our purposes today, for ourselves. Love is a verb. So I divided this into kind of 3 departments as far as I'm concerned regarding self-care, like what really matters to me and kind of the outlets that I have sought out that have been really helpful. So camp number 1 is like pleasures and desires. So I wanted to share a story. So for a while I was keeping this like money journal, and what it was like a manifestation journal. So every day, this wasn't my idea, but I did it, I would write a dollar amount and it would just keep going up. So maybe I started with $100 and then it was $200 and then it was $300, and then it was $1,000 and then it was $5,000, $50,000, and basically every day I had to spend that mentally. And so it's like I made a little list. It's like $100. Like, what do you want to get? Like, it's like, oh, this, sexy pair of jeans and this like little top or whatever. It's like, okay, great. And then it's like $50,000. And it's like, I want to go to, actually that it's like, I wanted a car, one of them, and this is the shit. It's like, if you want to feel good, you have to kind of like, you have to think about like what feels good to you. This is fun. So basically, I had to spend this dollar amount every day, more and more every day. And it wasn't just like, shoes. It was like, I want these boots from this company. I want this bag. I want like this fur. And so basically I started planning trips. And so it's like, yeah, like I would like to spend thousands of dollars on airfare, on a hotel. Like I would love to go see this particular thing. So anyways, I started planning trips like pretty vividly. And one of them was a very detailed trip to Montreal. And so basically it was like, I researched hotels and it was like, do I want to stay in an Airbnb? Do I want to stay, what area of the city do I want to stay in? What style of a hotel would I like to be in? And it's like, I don't want to be in something that feels like dated, like it was made in like the 80s, but I would like to be in something that feels like regal and historical even, but that's light and bright. And so it was like, I think I'd like a balcony. I would like to have lots of windows, like stone is okay, but this can't be dark and dreary. And so basically it was like, it brought it to life. It was so much fun. It was so delightful. And so anyway, what this did was that instead of me, like I'm just sharing a lot of things here. Instead of me thinking, la, 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 no, 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 I can't afford this. I can't have this. I can't think about it. It was like, we are thinking about it. Like you actually have to spend this money. And so what it did for my nervous system and for my brain was it made it kind of, it normalized spending this amount of money, doing the shit that I wanted, even though it was in my imagination. I'm coming to the point. So it made it accessible. So suddenly, instead of this, like, internal, like, oh God, like I want this, but I can't have that. It's like, no, we're spending like, $10,000 on a trip. Like we're it's like, yes, this is what's happening. And, anyway, in that time, and I know it is directly related to that time because of where I was energetically, I had a girlfriend invite me to Hawaii. And it was like, she kind of like made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And so the trip just became like easy and accessible. And it was just like, okay, like now I'm gonna travel quite a distance and be there for 10 days. And like, okay, great. And so anyway, so by feeling around for my desires, basically I attracted more of them into my life. And that just felt exciting, expansive. It made me feel like anything is possible. So instead of having this kind of like, bean counter mentality in terms of like, I only made this amount of money, so therefore like I can't spend this because I have to use it for a blah. It was like, it's endless. Every day I have more fucking money to spend. And it's like, and now I'm going to Hawaii. Thank you so much. So fucking fun. So that's number one. It's like, if you want to feel good, like if you want to have more, if you want to enjoy like your moment or like your life, always being looked at, feel good, and stuff that you want, like stuff that you love, like what's exciting to you. And so that money, practice was what it was. Basically, it got my nervous system more comfortable with larger and larger sums of money and just having access to them. And then I just kind of like brought it into my life. So anyway, that was fucking awesome. Number two is feeling stuck or low. So this is another situation where I was feeling just kind of lackluster. This is several years ago. And basically something that was happening on the internet at that time was something called like 100 Days of Happy. And basically, I don't know who's there, but thank you. 100 Days of Happy sound like, it was like, oh, you're supposed to find shit that makes you happy and take photos of it and like post it on the internet. And to me, that was just so like fucking lame. That just sounded so sterile and dry and like dull. And so I knew that like outrageous stuff made me feel alive, and feeling alive made me feel happy. So basically, I've talked about this here before. This was like such a shining moment in my life because it was just bold ass shit. So I put myself through 100 days of outrageousness. And essentially, every day, divine guidance, what am I doing today? And it's like, oh my God, you're gonna get up and you are going to wear this white feather boa around your waist like a tutu, and you're gonna take these silver star sparkles and you're gonna walk on the boulevard and you're going to toss them at people and you're gonna say, Happy Monday. And that same day, so basically like I was always looking for something that was outrageous. Like I either had like divine guidance or I was like looking for something. Typically it was like one thing a day. That was like my desire. And it might have been that very same day. So I had like walked up and down the boulevard and I had a pebble in my shoe. And so I was about to like take the pebble out of my shoe, and there was a man who was parked behind me. And I was like, I'm gonna ask this guy to help me take this rock out of my shoe. And it was like the most ridiculous thing to ask for help with. And what was so fantastic about it was he was like, yeah, like sit down, like sit on your bumper. And he like pried my shoe off my foot and dumped this like stone out and then like crammed my foot back in the shoe. And it was like, there you go. Anyway, I did a lot of shit in that 100 days. And I did some stuff that was like most people, or maybe many people would think like, you know, you wore a tiara to Starbucks. Like I would do that any day. And it's like, well, that made me feel quite self-conscious. And I was absolutely outside of my comfort zone. But it activated me. And so it's like, I went to Miami and I wore my like senior prom gown with a fur stole. So this was like a long, like thin strap, like navy blue satin gown with this fur stole. And I thought it would be so cool to have a soundtrack. So basically I played the theme song for British Airways. They had a series of commercials with this, and it's called The Flower Duet. And basically I was playing this song, it was in my bag as I like walked through the airport. And so it's like all of this shit was just so outrageous, and it was so fucking fun. I will also say all of it was like a little scary, totally anxiety provoking. Like if it kind of like made me sweat a little bit, like I absolutely knew that this was outrageous. But with it, like I will say, like I have never felt more like lit up, turned on, exciting. Like I was like the most fascinating woman on the planet by doing this. Like every goddamn day I was doing something that was like a little bit nuts, absolutely safe, crazy, fun, like so incredible. Like, and I was just like my life force was so strong. And at the time, it's like I had never made more money. It was just like a world of yes, because my energy was just so high, because I was so like activated by doing this like crazy and fun shit. And so anyway, what I will also say is that made me see that like you can do anything. Like anything is possible if you just stay focused on it. Like if you want to do any fucking thing, it's like you just need to stay like with your blinders on and not let anything distract you, because you can do ridiculous shit. I danced on the India Point Park Bridge, so over the highway, in like this black like corset thing and nylon, like black nylons, and this like little like fringy garter belt and like low boots to Chicago's All That Jazz on like a Tuesday afternoon in November. And anyway, like if I had deviated my attention from that mission, it would never have happened. But because I was just focused on it happening, it totally did. Anyway, such fucking cool shit. And then number 3, this is kind of almost in reverse order of importance. And so this is the like feeling sad, like feeling angry, like feeling full of emotion, like something has happened and I am actually upset about it and I'm not talking about it, but that doesn't mean that I'm not full of emotion. And so this is the stuff that we need to get out. And so maybe you're someone that's like, absolutely, you know, I talk to my partner every day. I talk to my sister every day. I talk to my best friend every day. Like, you know, I have multiple people in my life that I talk to and I share my stuff with. Like, maybe you do, and that's amazing. And like, some of us don't. So typically, like I do something called spring cleaning, which is like, I teach this to my fat burners as well. And so basically it's such a healing, helpful, useful technique to kind of like unburden us from whatever we might be holding inside. I'm like wheezy. It's amazing. It's like safe. It's sacred. It's like, it goes nowhere. What happens in spring cleaning stays in spring cleaning. It's like confession to someone who's just like impartial and like will share their shit with you when you're done. no coaching, no feedback. It's so awesome. It's liberating, it's recalibrating, it creates intimacy, creates a better connection with yourself. It's fucking awesome. If you have any questions about it, please be in touch. But anyway, I'll say, like, recently, like, I was feeling sad. Like, I honestly just kind of had like a disappointing dating experience. And like, not devastating, but just kind of just disappointing and sad. And anyway, my mom had called to talk with me about Easter. And like, I knew that I wasn't feeling great, but I didn't know like how much I actually needed to like get this shit out. And so I had the like fortune of her reaching out and like me having this like opportunity to talk to another human. And basically what was so good about it was that, like, you know, and I'll say I brag this too, that it's like, I can't, you know, I was kind of, it was under the surface for me, but then ultimately I couldn't ignore it. And so when my mom started talking, it was like, I feel like I had this like emotional hairball like in my throat. And it was just like, I have to get this out. And basically, like, I just, you know, kind of like, you know, like waved my flag of distress. And basically I just kept saying like, I need to say this. And it's like, I just need you to listen. Like, I just need you to let me talk. And she like didn't do it perfectly at first. Like, she kept like talking and asking questions. And it was like, I need to find myself in this. Like, I just need to like locate this and let it out. So if you could just kind of like be present and be quiet. And she did. And it was like, I talked and I cried and I shared, and it was like, and I like figured it out. Like, it kind of came to me as I was like getting it out. And I think that's also like a really consequential thing. When we do have something that's like in us, that's on our mind, that's like, we know is there. And I think it can be scary sometimes to like talk about something where it's like, I know that something is wrong, but I don't know what that thing is. So like, I'm going to be vulnerable because it's like, A, I'm like riddled with emotion, and B, like, it's a little scary to kind of like not know where we are, you know? And so anyway, I am so grateful that she was just able to be present to me. And so it's like, I got what I needed to say out. And then it was like, and then I felt better, and I felt lighter, and I felt stronger, and I felt clearer, and I felt infinitely calmer. And I think the whole thing is that, like, so that was really in order of importance. But when we need something, it's like, whether that's kind of like general nourishment, you know, more pleasure, like we're feeling kind of like dull and lifeless, or we've got this fucking like, you know, this wasp's nest like in our throat or head or heart. And it's like, feelings are real. Like they literally take up space. Like, I know that when I am like upset about something, preoccupied with something, it's like, it's under the surface. So it's more of kind of like this distraction. I don't want to say sometimes irritation, but it's like, you know, it's not really distinct, but it's definitely still there. And then when you start to kind of like get under the surface, then it's like this thing it's bigger, it emerges, and then it is done. And then you have like clearance, and you have access. Again, there's nothing in the way. But the whole deal, this is kind of an aside. This is what I see, and this is what I've seen in myself, is that we just want to, often if we have something that's unpleasant, we're feeling something that's unpleasant, we just want it to be over. And we often try to intellectualize it versus actually feel it. And the whole thing with feeling it is that it is beyond our control. It like lasts however long it's going to last. The root, the core, is often what we're not even clearly aware of, or maybe we are and we're trying not to, like, you know, what do I want to say? Like, have that be the way. Sometimes we can do that, try to avoid it, like within ourselves. That's the worst. But the whole thing is that our feelings take up space. And so it's like these needs are real. So anyway, when we need something, like, it is undeniable. And because we don't give it to ourselves, it doesn't mean that we don't still need it. Also, like, when we need care, like, we need care. Like, I was so happy to kind of like fall into my mother's arms, like, on Sunday. And that's not something that typically happens. Hi, Corey. Hi, my dear. This is my great emotional sharing. And so it's like, so it takes two. I think that's another thing where it's like some of these things maybe we can be a little more independent with, which is like pleasure, my desires, like, you know, what do I love? Or like, what's going to make me feel so freaking excited? Like, oh my God, I've like always wanted to do this thing. Or like, like, what are you suggesting? Like, we're going to like, whatever, go skinny dipping. We're going to like get on a go-kart. Like, we're going to do all sorts of stuff. Or that like actually tending to our like feelings, our sadness, our anger. And so I'll just say, like, it would be amazing for all of us to kind of like get ahead of things and stay kind of topped up with pleasure, with fun, with excitement, and with getting our emotions out and feeling them. And if we're not regularly doing that, we will ultimately need it because we need it. And so self-care really is like, you know, we brush our teeth, we wash our face, we like wash our clothes, we clean our home. It's like we need that tending to as well. And so maybe some of us get nourishment in a variety of ways in terms of like, you know, we love our work. We have a robust like spiritual practice. You know, we do like a sport or an activity that we like frickin' adore. You know, we have a nice community around us. You know, we're doing things deliberately regarding like stimulation and, you know, we're learning things or getting to explore with regularity. And we're like sharing our shit like as it comes up. And so it's just such consequential stuff. And it's like, it will either be kind of like pulling you down or like in your way, or we're doing things that make us feel like activated and satisfied and stimulated and also like unburdened, which is the best. Okay? And so love is an act, like it is a verb. And so these three outlets, I feel like these are like this is a very complete approach to being a whole and happy human. This is I feel like these are some really good cornerstones. And so when we do these things, they're just reliably nourishing and nurturing things to do for ourselves. Okay? So that's kind of it. And I will just say, I will brag this. So obviously, this is my background. Like, I'm not, you know, someone else didn't share this with me and I thought it would be a good idea to talk about. Like, this is stuff that's present in my life and I don't always do it. I would say the spring cleaning is probably the most apparent, the thing I do the most frequently. It's the most obvious thing to tend to when it's like I feel like a fucking maniac or I feel really like upset or overwhelmed about something. And because I have women that reach out to me for me to hold space for them to spring clean, it makes sense for me to do it. It helps me to remember to do it, and it gives me an opportunity to do it too. this is something that some fat burners have done with me, learned how to do, gone off into the world and done it with other women that know how to do this. It's amazing. But the other thing I just want to say, the thing that kind of prompted me to talk about this was essentially on our call today, one fat burner shared how she was just kind of like, you know, feeling like she wasn't like, there were some things that were off, like her sleep was off, her energy was off. And these are things that are typically like solid when you're in a fat burning mode. Solid sleep, deeper sleep, endless energy. And so anyway, so we just had this conversation, and the thing that I want to share is that one thing I aim to do, and I'm like, I feel very like proud of myself for this because I feel like it's very effective and useful, is to make other people right. Meaning that like any fat burner, like any coaching client of any capacity, it's like any person really, it's like even when they think that what they're doing is wrong or that they shouldn't feel this way, they shouldn't be doing this thing, it's like I always make a point to make them right because what they're doing makes sense to them. And so like a house divided falls. So when we kind of like criticize our impulses, you know, our thinking even, I shouldn't feel this way. It's like, well, we are, and it's for a reason, and that's okay. So let's just find it. Let's just find what's in the way, or what the thinking is that's having you go in a way that you don't want to be going. And so that's what we did. And we had a group discussion, and it's like, you know, dealing with some big life-changing stuff, which is super stressful. And it's like, how reasonable. And so basically, it was like, we talked about the stress. We talked about the reality of her, like, big change, like losing weight, more than 2 pounds a week. Like, you're a fucking superstar. Like, you're doing an amazing job. So it's like, so that's not true. Like, you are doing a good job. You know, and to have kind of like support around, again, just reflecting back reality that it's like you are dealing with a lot of stress. It makes sense to have your sleep disrupted. It makes sense to feel like fatigued from all that you're dealing with. Anyway, and so with it, what I also talked about was just pleasure. And so it's like, I think a lot of us, a lot of women at times that I work with at times can be like beasts of burden. You know, it's like so many responsibilities, taking care of so many people, so many things, and not thinking about what they would love, what they would like desire most, what would be so fun for them. Oh my God, I've always wanted to do this. Or even just like, this is what I want to do today. Like, this is my time. Like, I don't have to sacrifice anything. Like, someone else can accommodate you today. Like, it is not me. And so again, it's like, maybe you have itty bitty children and you don't have someone to help you. Like, maybe that's the deal. But for most of us, there is an option. So anyway, so that was kind of the thing that like drove me to think about like more. And the fact that pleasure is so consequential. It is like, it is real deal self-care, nourishment, fuel, like healing, therapy, fun. We need it. And so if you're ever in a state where it's like you just feel like you are being like sucked dry, like by the world or your environment, it's like pleasure. Please prioritize that. Okay? And so even if that doesn't mean anything to you or make any sense or like make sense as to how you could, please know that it is natural for that to be a part of your life and even a priority. Okay? That's it. I hope that was great. And so with that, if you are someone, obviously, if you are someone, a woman who's over 40, who is wishing to lose weight, 8 to 15 pounds in a month, by going about it in a very different way, i.e. getting your body set up to use your body fat for energy. We're all made to do this. We're made to store it in times of abundance, fat, and then we're meant to access it in times of scarcity. And that really is every day. Like, that's how it could and should be. So also, I feel like what we do that is different is this is not a no pain, no gain, like bullshit, like rodeo. One thing I feel like I aim to do, like I said, is to make people right. So then we stop the war, like we stop the fighting within ourselves. We come to a peaceful place. We come to agreement and harmony, and then we can actually like move forward or not keep doing like self-sabotagey stuff. And I think that's really important. And so whatever shade that shows up for an individual, whether that's like, you know, I want to eat this, but I shouldn't, or, you know, I feel this way, or it's hard for me to do that, or I keep not getting enough sleep and I know that's not helpful. And it's just like, don't worry about it. Like, let's just figure it out. Like, let's figure out what's driving you or what's driving that behavior. No stress. Okay? So anyway, so if you would like a gentler approach, a gentler touch with actually a more powerful approach, I would totally encourage you to consider Fat Burning Pro. So I will attach our sugar quiz underneath this video. If you have a curiosity as to what fuel you're mostly burning, sugar or fat, typically if we are burning sugar, we are storing fat and not using it later. And you would know this by having more hunger, having a challenging time losing weight, not being at a weight that you really, that's ideal for you. Or maybe you are burning more fat, less hunger, no cravings, plenty of energy at the body weight that you desire, plus typically pretty robust health. But I think you would know that if you are, but check it out. All right. So that's it. I hope this was amazing. I hope this was a great talk. I hope you totally enjoyed this. And that's it. All right. Be in touch for any reason. Love to you. And until next time.